there, Prep 2s. How are you today? Well, I'm doing just fine. Thank you very much. And here we are back on the whiteboard. And I want to show you something really interesting. Yesterday we talked about pictographs. So here is a pictograph. But today we're going to make it a little bit more challenging. And I'm going to show you how. So this pictograph is about the number of trees that were planted in 5 different weeks, right? Super. That sounds pretty easy, right? But before we move on, let's take a look at the key over here. The key tells us that when you see the symbol of one tree, it actually means it's 2 trees. It represents 2 trees. So this here doesn't count as 1 tree. This counts as 2 trees. But if you have a look at this tree over here, which you only see half of it, what do you think that means? If a whole tree is 2 trees, what do you think a half of a tree means? Well, a half of a tree, let me make a half over here. There's a half of a tree. It equals 1 tree, okay? And a whole tree, let's see, let me make a big whole tree here. That means we are talking about 2 trees. So that's the most important thing that we need to know before we begin. So now we can start looking at our pictographs. On week 1, we see 3 symbols of whole trees. So if this means 2 trees and 2 trees and 2 trees, how many trees were planted on week 1? Let's see, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. There we go. Look at week 2. Ooh, this one looks like it had the most trees. Remember, they're each 2, so we're going to count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So on week 2, 14 trees were planted. And in week 3, I'll do one more with you, and then I'll let you do the rest of it on your own. So here we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, plus just 1. This is just 1. So 12 plus 1 equals 13. Okay? So that's really important. I think before you always answer the questions on a pictograph, you should first write down the numbers here on the side, just like I did. So let's do this one quickly. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Da-da-da, there we go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, plus 1 more, 11. Now we're ready to answer the questions. What does this symbol represent? This one here. We know that already. It means it represents 1 tree, right? Let's see if I can spell that. There we go. How many trees did Bobby plant in week 3? Well, Bobby planted all these trees. Sorry, Mrs. Turn cut off the top part here. But what it said up at the top was that Bobby planted all these trees. So in week 3, Bobby planted, oh, look at that. We don't even have to count because we already did it. 13 trees. 13 trees. There we go. Number 3, in which week did Bobby plant the fewest trees? Fewest means less. So I can see it was week 1. Week 1, he planted the fewest trees. But I see there's a second part to this question. How many did he plant that week? Ta-da! We already have that answer. He planted 6 trees, okay? It's always nice to be able to answer in complete sentences. So it's nice to put in the words. So, in which week did Bobby plant the most trees? The most was this one. So that was week 2. I'm not going to do the complete sentences or else we're going to be here for a long time and you won't have time to finish your task. But it's always a good idea. Actually, the best idea is for you to answer it in a way that you can understand, okay? So, how many more did he plant in that week than week 1? So, on this week he planted 14. And on this week he planted 6. So look at this. He planted this many more on week 2 than he did on week 1. Because on week 1 he planted 6. On week 2 he also planted 6, but then he also planted more. He planted 2, 4, 6, 8. So he planted 8 more in week 2 than he did in week 1. And finally, draw symbols to represent 5 trees. Oh, that's easy. So here's 1, 2 trees. Here is 4 trees. And here is 5 trees because this one means 2, this one means 2, and this one means 1. 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's it, okay? So before you ever start to work on a pictograph, the first thing you need to do, the most important thing, let's make a tornado around it, is you need to look at the key and look at the symbol and see how many does that symbol represent. So now you are going to go on to the next slide to find out what you are going to be doing on your own, your activity. See you soon.